गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोर्मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो. Ram Ram Ram. So in the past few classes, we were covering a very good work of Kalidasa, a very great work of Kalidasa, that is Raghuvamsham, and we have concluded the seventh Sukthirathnani, Pratibadhanati Shreyaha, Pujya Puja Vyatikramaha. So today let us take up the next one. So again, before going to the next one, let us discuss briefly about where this is taken from and what is the source and the author's credentials here. So the next Sukti that we will be discussing is actually again one of the Sukthiratnanis that come in different places, but the source that I am considering is Chanakya Neethi. So Chanakya Neethi is the source from which this next Sukthiratnani we will be discussing is taken from. Again, it can be taken from any source. I will tell you why that is so when we come to explaining about the work. So first of all, let us discuss about the author, Chanakya. So what do we know about Chanakya? We know that he was called, his original name was Vishnugupta, and he was later called Chanakya or Kautilya. Again, the reason for him being called Chanakya or Kautilya has several reasons given by different people, but a more commonly accepted reason is his father was called Chanaka. Hence, he was called Chanakya, and he also belonged to a gotra called Kotila Gotra. Hence, he is called Kautilya. Since his father was called Chanaka, he is called Chanakya. Since he belonged to a gotra called Kotila Gotra, he is called Kautilya. But his original name is Vishnugupta. Of course, Chanakya is a very famous figure in Indian history, either from historic point of view, from literature point of view, or even from a personality point of view. But again, the stories of great people has only one fault or one defect, that is, you don't have enough information or precise information. Even in case of Chanakya, his life, his time, the place where he lived, everything is not sure, and historians have taken information from 4 different works to come to a common conclusion. What are those 4 works? We'll first see. So first is a Buddhist work called Mahavamsha. So Mahavamsha is a Buddhist work, and that is the first source. The second source is a Jaina work, so written by Jains, called Parishishta Parva. So Parishishta Parva is a second work that is considered for deciding or getting information about Chanakya. Third is a Kashmiri work called Kathasarit Sagara. It's a very famous work written by Somadeva. There's a third source of information. And the final source of information is Vishakha Datta's Mudra Rakshasam. So we have already discussed Mudra Rakshasam, and that is one of the sources by which historians have identified or tried to get an approximate time, place, and also the works of Chanakya. So based on these sources, the understanding is that Chanakya was born sometime around the 375 BC period, and he died in 283 BC period. So he is told to be born in Takshashila, and he is told to have died in Pataliputra. So this is the rough estimate of the place and time of Chanakya. Again, as we all know, Chanakya is told to have established the Maurya dynasty under Chandragupta Maurya. And again, there are several reasons, that people give for why he took revenge on the Nandas. Some say that he was thrown out of the kingdom. Some say that when he went to ask for some money to support his family, they saw his very bad figure and they sent him away. So there are different reasons that they give why Chanakya avenged or took revenge on the Nandas. But the understanding is he took revenge on the Nandas. And finally, after taking revenge on the Nandas and eliminating the Nandas, he put Chandragupta Maurya on the throne. Now, there are again several incidents. So, if you again just open Wikipedia page and give Chanakya, and they'll give you 4 different, based on these 4 works that I told you, they'll give you 4 different storylines that Chanakya's life, they'll give you 4 different lines about Chanakya's life. So one gives you some stories about how Chanakya put Chandragupta Maurya and then how he finally ended his life. Some again give some other reasons. So there are 4 different stories that you can find about Chanakya. But I will tell you 1 or 2 common points that are told in all of them. So it is told that once, Chandragupta Maurya is placed on the throne by Chanakya, what he did was, see, at that point of time, during those times, the most common way that enemies tried to kill a king was by poisoning him. So Chanakya, having realized this, what he did was, he constantly added some amount of poison in the king's food so that he can become immune, that he is resistant to poison. So later, no one can poison him. So to prevent that, he had started adding small amounts of poison in his food so that he can become accustomed to poison. But later on, what happens is Chandragupta Maurya's wife is pregnant and she is to deliver her child in 7 days. At that point of time, Chandragupta Maurya decides to share the food that he is having with his wife. He is unaware that Chanakya has been adding poison. So once he feeds this food to his wife, then the wife dies. And immediately after dying, once Chanakya comes to know, immediately after she dies, it is told that Chanakya cut open her belly and he removed the son. So he knew that there is no way of protecting the wife. Hence, the important thing is to protect the child who will be the successor to the kingdom. So he is told to have removed the child from her womb and he is told to have protected it separately. Since that boy had drops, he was covered in drops of blood, he was named Bindusara. So Bindusara was the son of Chandragupta Maurya, and it is a story that is accepted by all these 4 granthas. Of course, there is no facts or factual evidence for this, but this is a commonly assumed story about Chanakya. Again, he is the person who has written Arthashastra about political science and has also written Chanakya Neethi. Now, after having discussed all this, now we'll come to Chanakya Neethi. What is Chanakya Neethi? Though it may seem that it is an original work of Chanakya, yes, it is an original work of Chanakya, but what is in Chanakyaneethi? Chanakyaneethi is a collection of shlokas and important verses from different parts. It can be from Ramayana, it can be from Panchatantra, it can be from Mahabharata, any source. So what Chanakya has done is, rather than a person going through different works in search of good knowledge, what Chanakya did is, he has collected all those beautiful shlokas and meaningful and important shlokas from different sources and has put it under one book called Chanakyaneethi. So Chanakyaneethi does not contain the works authored by Chanakya. It contains the shlokas authored by different people collected by Chanakya. Of course, some of them were probably written by Chanakya himself, but it is a collection of works or shlokas written by different people. So Chanakyaneethi has 17 chapters and roughly around 340 to 350 shlokas. Now, what I will do is, because Chanakyaneethi is not like a story, it is not a story-based poem like Kumara Sambhava or Raghuvamsha, it is just collection of Subhashitas. So similar to how Subhashitas are given in your book, there is no order, there is no story in which the Subhashitas are given. Chanakyaneethi is also a similar type of work of 300, 340, 350 odd shlokas from different sources. So what I will be doing is, rather than, since there's no storyline as such, I will take some very important Subhashitas. And how are these Subhashitas? They are either very famous, that you would have probably heard from somewhere, or they are already, the Subhashitas have already learned in different levels, Prathama, Dvitiya, Tritiya, any place. Or there are also some of them which are very commonly used or which are very important for you. So I've chosen around 10%, that's around 30 to 33 shlokas I've chosen from this entire Chanakyaneethi, and I'm presenting it to you with the shloka as well as the meaning. So that is how I want to present it to you. So I will immediately start with the shlokas. So very first, of course, Chanakya was a Vaishnava. He was a worshipper of Vishnu. So he starts off this Chanakyaneethi by telling, Pranamya Shirasa Vishnum Trailokyadhipatim Prabhum Nana Shastrodhritam Vakshye Rajaniti Samuchayam. Again, having saluted Lord Vishnu, Nana Shastrodhritam, having selected from different shastras, it can be from Puranas, Itihasa, etc., having chosen from different aspects of shastras or from different shastras, Rajanitim Samuchayam Vakshye. I will tell you a little bit about Rajaniti through these shlokas, is what he has addressed. Further, as you know, even if you read Panchatantra, like Panchatantra Kathamukam, at the end it tells, Shakradapi Kadachana. So a person who reads Panchatantra every day or even hears to it will surely never be defeated by Indra himself, is what is given in the shloka. Similarly, every grantha should have what is the purpose or what is the end use of this book or this stotra. So even here, Chanakya mentions that Tadaham sampravakshyami lokanam hitakamyaya yena vijnata matrena sadvagnatvam prapadyate. Sampravakshyami, I will tell this knowledge to you, lokanam hitakamya. Why am I telling this to you? For the welfare of the world. And yena vijnata matrena, just by knowing which, you don't even have to implement it, you don't even have to follow it. Just by knowing this, sarvajnatvam prapadyate, you will attain sarvajnata, that is all knowing. So you'll become all knowing just by listening, or just by going through this book, you will become a sarvajna, is what he has given. So he has assured that just by reading this, you'll become a sarvajna. Finally, after having told all this, the actual verses I have picked up. So the very first shloka that I'll be discussing is Yasmin deshe na sammano na vrittir na cha bandhavaha na cha vidya gamopyasti vasam tatra na karayet. First is discussing about the place of stay. So where should you stay? Where should you not stay? So he's telling Yasmin deshe na sammanaha, that place where there is no respect. Again, as you have seen in Raghuvamsha, when Lokapavada was given, Yashaha Gariyaha, Rama tells it, fame or respect is the most important thing for Manadhana. So for a person who respects respect, or he deserves respect, fame is more important. So he's saying that Yasmin Deshena Sammanaha, in a place where there is no respect, na vrittihi, there is no occupation, so you don't have any work. Nacha bandhavaha, there are no relatives also. Nacha vidyagamaha api asti, and there is no reason of gaining knowledge. So there is no school as such. So there is no place of study. Na tatra vasam karayet. There you should not live. So he's saying that you should never live in a place where there is no respect, there is no occupation, there are no relatives, and also there is no means of education. Again, further he adds, Dhanika Shrotriyo Raja Nadi Vaidyastu Panchamaha Pancha Yatrana Vidyante Na Tatra Divasam Vaset. Probably you have already come across this shloka. So he's telling that Na Tatra Divasam Vaset. You should not stay there even for one day. In which place? Pancha Yatrana Vidyante, where these 5 things are not present. Dhanikaha, a rich man. Shrotriyaha, a Brahmin. Raja, a king. Nadi, river. Vaidyaha, doctor. So why is he telling this Dhanika? So Dhanika does not always mean a rich man. Any person who can lend you money, because in the current day, bank is what is the Dhanika that Chanakya is indicating here. So any place where you can take some money and then start your business or start some new endeavor, that person should always be there, because it's not like everybody will have wealth. So if yeah, Ram Ram Ram.
Now the shloka has come in Pratama or Dvitiya.
Yes, that's what. So you have already read this shloka, and that's what.
Yes, sir.
So it can be taken from Panchatantra, Hitopadesha, any place, but Chanakya has put it in one place under Chanakyaneethi. So that is why I took these shlokas, because either you know them very well or they're important for you. So that's why I've taken these shlokas. Yes, true, it is come in Prathama or Dvitiya, correct. So Dhanika, why is Chanakya mentioning Dhanika? As I've told you, there should be someone to lend you money. So it's not like everybody will always be rich. There can be some difficult circumstances where you will need money. So there should be someone who's always ready to lend some money. So Dhanika is important. Shrotriya, there are Shodashopacharas. There are 16 different events that have to take place in a particular person's life. For all of them, you need a Brahmin to come and do the rituals. So Brahmana is very important. Of course, for any if you want to fix a date for a marriage, for an Upanayana, anything, you'll need a Brahmana. So Brahmanas also should be there. Raja. So Raja does not always mean a king. It can be any person in authority, any king, any ruler, any minister for that matter should always be there, because only if he is there will there be some justice in the place, and also there will be some good rules that are enforced. So Raja is important. Nadi, water is the most important need for any man. So if there is no source of water, then that place is unfit for staying. Vaidyaha. So again, Ashashvatoyam Jivitavya Vishaya in Panchatantra Kathamukam, if you see, this life is very uncertain. Sometimes you'll be very healthy, the very next moment you're ill. At that point of time, there should always be doctors around to help you. Hence, when these 5 things are not there, that place is not fit for living even for one day. It's not just it is fit, it's dangerous to stay even for one place. Let us say you fall ill and there is no doctor, then there is no source of hope. Hence, he's saying that first make sure that these 5 things are there, and then only decide to stay there. And if these 5 things are not there, do not stay there, is what Chanakya is telling. Next. Parokshe karyahantaram pratyakshe priyavadinam vajjayet tadrisham mitram vishakumbham payomukham. So this was there in our school syllabus when we were studying Sanskrit. It's a very good shloka. So what it is telling? Parokshe karyahantaram. So that person, paroksha, in your absence or behind your back, karyahantaram, who destroys your work. But pratyakshe priyavadinam. But when he's in front of you, priyavadinam, he'll speak very politely, he'll speak very sweetly, and he'll be like a friend. So behind your back, he's destroying all your work. He's bringing, he's causing you problems. But in front of you, when he comes in front of you, Priyavadinam, he speaks very politely in a very sweet manner, as though he's your friend. Varjayet tadrisham mitram. Hence, let go of such a friend. So if you come to know that your friend who is very close to you, who's very speaking very sweetly, but he's doing the opposite, like who's doing bad to you behind your back, Varjayet, you should let go of that friend. And how is this friend? Vishakumbham Payomukham. So it's like a pot of poison. Vishakumbha is like a pot of poison. Payomukham, but the top surface of that poison is covered with milk. So you may feel that the pot is full of milk, but just the top layer is milk. Inside everything is Visha. So he's telling that a friend who destroys your work behind your back or in your absence, but speaks very politely in front of you, should be let go of. And he is like a pot of poison whose top is just a layer of milk. यो ध्रुवाणि परित्यज्य अध्रुवं परिषेवते ध्रुवाणि तस्य नश्यन्ति अध्रुवं नष्टमेव हि. Very apt shloka for the current situation and very apt for any type of situation. Yah dhruvani parityajya. So there are some things that are constant. Let's say a person has got a job. He has been working there for a long time, some 4 to 5 years. Of course, it's a not very high paying job or it's a not a very prominent job, but he has a job. Constantly, he has some source of income to support his family. May not be he's living a lavish life, a very rich life, but at least he's supporting his family. That is dhruvam. That is a constant source of income. Yah dhruvani parityajya, a person who lets go of any constant thing, adhruvam parishevate, and goes in search of uncertainty. Let us say this person who is working in a company for some time, some friend of his or some relative or someone is that, okay, there is a job that is giving you 10 times the money that you're earning, but of course I'm not sure about the but he just gives you this information. He's not giving you that, okay, I'm taking, you're sure that you've got into this company. He's not giving you any surety. It's adhruva. It's uncertain or unconstant. But someone just told him that there is a company which is giving you 10 times that amount of money. So that person lets go of this constant source. Dhruvani parityajya, having let go of this constant source, adhruvam pariyashevati, he goes in search of this uncertain means of income. Dhruvani tasya nishyanti, that constant source is gone. Nashyanti, it is destroyed. Adhruvam nashtamevahi, that uncertain thing is surely gone. So very apt. So we are always thinking that, okay, if someone gives some information about some new type of job or new type of work, we always try to leave what we have and go towards it. That should not happen is what he's telling, because what is already there, you're sure that it is there. Because once you leave what is there already with you, that has already gone, and what you will get is surely not there. So adhruvam nashtamevahi, that thing, adhruva, that unconstant thing, is surely not there. It's surely destroyed. So if you have something constantly with you, respect that and be with that. This is a beautiful thing that Chanakya mentions. शैले शैलेन माणिक्यं मौक्तिकं न गजे गजे साधवो न हि सर्वत्र chandanam na vane vane. A very famous subhashita that probably you would have come across. So here he's telling that shaile shailena manikyam. So there are very precious ores and precious stones that are found in mountains. But Chanakya is telling, or Chanakya Neethi is giving the shloka which tells that shaile shailena manikyam. Manikya is that precious stone. So this subhashita is telling that it is not like you will find precious mountains on every mountain. So every mountain does not have precious stones like manikya. And mauktikam na gaje gaje. Again, as I've told you, in Sanskrit literature, we consider that there are some breeds of elephant whose head has a very beautiful jewel called mauktika. So that beautiful jewel is told to be in the head of some elephants. So he's saying that gaje gaje mauktikamna. But this mauktika, that crest jewel, is not present in every elephant. Only some parts of these, some breeds of elephants have them. Sadhavo nahi sarvatra. Good people are not present everywhere. Chandanam na vane vane. And sandalwood does not grow in every forest. It grows in only some forests. So Manikya is found only on some mountains and not in all. Mauktika, the crest jewel, is found in only some elephants and not in all. Sadhavas, that is, good people, are found in some places and not everywhere. And sandalwood does not grow in every forest, and it grows in only some forests. So he's saying that don't be under the blind impression that whomever you meet is a good person, because good persons are only few in number and they're not found everywhere. So be careful in choosing your colleague, choosing your partner, choosing your friend, anyone. If you're doing a business, while choosing your partners, be careful. If you're making friends, be careful. Vishakumbham payomukham, the previous shloka has already told. So be careful while selecting friends, your colleagues, or your people who will work with you. So he's telling a beautiful shloka here. Again, lalanat bahavo doshaha tadanat bahavo gunaha tasmat putram cha shishyam cha tadayen natu lalayet. A very beautiful shloka.
Anna, it has come in Tritiya only.
Which one? Lalanath. It's the second Anuvada Pradipa book, correct. So again, a very beautiful shloka, very apt for parents or teachers or anyone. So what is this telling is Lalanath Bahavo Doshaha, by pampering or by giving too much of love. Bahavo Doshaha, there are several problems in that. Tadanat Bahavo Guna. Tadana means hitting, but it indirectly is the punishment. So punishing Bahavo Guna, by punishing, there are a lot of good things that will happen. So if you're pampering a kid for a long time, again, let us take the example of Duryodhana. So Duryodhana was pampered a lot by Dhritarashtra. Finally, even Dhritarashtra was unable to stop the karma that Duryodhana had to bear. So similarly, what he's telling is, if by pampering your child, you're creating a lot of problems. But by punishing him at the right time, if he has done a mistake, by punishing him at the right time, there will be several good things in the future. Hence, tasmat, hence, putram cha shishyam cha. So it's not just a message to parents, it's also a message to the teachers. Of course, this is following the Gurukula system where Shishyas used to come and stay with the Guru. So at that point of time, the Shishya himself was the son and the Guru himself was the father. So that was the ideology then. So he's saying that, hence, your son as well as your student has to be punished at the right time and should not be pampered. A very beautiful shloka told in Chanakya Neethi. So now, next. Kasya dosha kule nasti vyadhina kena piditaha vyasanam kena na praptam kasya saukhyam nirantaram. Again, a very apt shloka for people in this Kali Yuga who feel that everything is attained by money and everything. So what it is saying, Kasya kule doshaha nasti. So kula is a clan or a family or any type of lineage. So for example, even Ikshvaku is a kula, Chandramamsha is a kula. So what he is telling is, the Subhashita Karya is telling this, Kasya kule doshaha nasti, in which clan there is no problems or there is no errors at all. Because if you take the example of Ikshvaku Vamsha is a very famous clan, but still Dasharatha did a dosha. Even Dilipa did a dosha by not respecting Kamadhenu. Dasharatha did a dosha by killing Shravana Kumara. So he's saying that however great the clan may be, surely there is some dosha in that. So there is no clan which has no dosha at all. So every clan will have some dosha. Next, Vyadhina kena piditaha, and who is that person who is never affected by illness? Any person born in this world, somehow, either be it as small as a cold or a cough, he will surely experience some or the other type of illness. So who is that person who has never experienced illness? Vyasanam kena na praptam. Vyasana is hardships or difficulties. So who is that person who has never experienced difficulties? Rama is told to be Purushottama, but still he also experienced Vanavasa. He also had to experience separation from Sita. He also had to experience Lokapavada. Yudhishthira, he's a Dharmaputra himself, but still even he had to go to through Vanavasa, he had to go through Ajnatavasa. So many difficult times he has to face. So he's saying that, who is that person who has never experienced hardships? And Kasya Saukhyam Nirantaram. And who is that person who has well-being all the time? That is, who has never seen hardships, who has never seen bad times, who is always Saukhyam Nirantaram. Who is that person who is constantly happy? There is no person. So, which is that kula which does not have dosha? There is no kula. Which is that person who is never affected by illness? There is no person. Which is that person who has never seen hardships? Everyone has seen. And who is that person whose happiness is always there or permanent? There is no such person. So he's giving you this knowledge that don't feel that if you're sad, you'll always be sad. Don't feel that if you're happy, you'll always be happy. So chakrara panktiriva gacchati bhagya pankti. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad, sometimes you're healthy, sometimes you're not. So it keeps coming and going, and it's not nirantara, it's never constant. Dujjanasya cha sarpasya varam sarpo na dujjanaha sarpo damshati kale tu dujjanastu pade pade. Again, either similar or exactly the same shloka you would have come across. Very beautiful again. Dujjanasya sarpasya. So when you're comparing a dujjana, a bad person, and a sarpa, the snake is better than the bad person. Why? Sarpo damshati kale tu. The snake bites you only once, but Durjanastu pade pade, but this bad person keeps hurting you constantly. So this is again, for example, if you take Duryodhana himself. So first he played, while playing Yuta Krida, he took the Rajya, then he took the brothers, then he again, constantly again and again, he took, he even made them surrender Draupadi. And again, when they went to Vanavasa, he again went there to taunt them. So again, pade pade, again and again, these Durjanas keep on hurting the feelings of good people. Again, Rupa Yauvana Sampanna Vishala Kula Sambhavaha Vidyahina na Shobhante Nirgandha iva kinshukaha. Rupa, beauty. Yauvana, youth. Sampannaha. So those people who are very beautiful and who are still in their youth. And Vishalakula Sambhava, further how are they? They belong to a very great clan, Vishalakula, very big and very renowned clan. But Vidyahinaha, so even if a person has beauty, he has youth, he belongs to a very good clan, Vidyahinaha, if he does not have knowledge, na shobhante, he will never prosper or he will never be, recognized by anyone. And beautifully, the Subhashitakara is comparing to Kinshuka. So Kinshuka is a flower which is very beautiful to look. It is one of the most beautiful flowers, but Nirgandha, it does not have any fragrance. So when you're going on the, when you're going in a road, if you don't see this Kinshuka flower, you will not understand its beauty because there's no fragrance. But if you see, there's a flower called Parijata, which has, those white petals and a red color stalk. So those flowers spread their fragrance so far that even like very far away, you feel that there is a Parijata flower nearby, Parijata plant nearby. So even though you don't see the flower, you still recognize that it is Parijata. But Kinshuka is not like that. Unless you see Kinshuka, you will never realize that it is there. Similarly, even though a person has a very beautiful body, he's still in his youth, he belongs to a very beautiful, great clan. Still, if he is not educated and if he does not have knowledge, he will never be recognized and he will never glow. Ati rupena vaisita, ati garbena ravanaha, ati danat balirbadho, he ati sarvatra varjayet. One of the most common phrases, ati sarvatra varjayet. So, ati rupena vaisita. Because of her excess beauty, Sita had to bear hardships. That is, she was kidnapped by Ravana. Ati garvena Ravana, by his excess ego, Ravana had to be destroyed. Ati danat balirbadha, by his excess charity, by doing excess dana, even Bali had to be defeated. Hence, ati sarvatra varjayet, excess has to be avoided. Ati adare vishavu amritavu vishavaguttade. So that is again, synonymous, phrase that you have in Kannada. So, ati sarvatra varjayet, do not do anything in excess. Lalayet panchavarshani, dashavarshani tadayet, praptet shodhashe varshe, putram mitravadacharayet. Again, in continuation with the Lalanat Bhavo Doshaha, it's again another beautiful shloka giving instructions of how any person like a guru or a parent should look after their kids. What is Subhashitakara telling? Lalayet panchavarshani. So till the time that the kid reaches age of 5, lalayet, pamper, because it's a very small kid, it does not know good, bad, it does not know what is right, what is wrong. So till the age of 5, pamper and love your kid. Dashavarshani tadayet. But after 5 years, till the age of 10 years, tadayet, that is punish him. If he does a mistake, you should be punished. Because that is the time when that kid understands what is right and wrong, and he'll be able to discriminate what he should do and what he should not do. So, Dashavarshani tadayet, till the age of 10, punish him. Prapte tu shodhashe varshe, putram mitravadacharayet. This is a very beautiful sentence in this shloka. But once he attains the age of 16, shodhashe, putram mitravadacharayet. Treat your son like a friend. You should understand that when these Subhashitas were being written, it was the point when, by the age of 16, a son would have reached enough maturity, enough independence that he can live on his own and he can himself support his entire family. Because even Rama, when he went and married Sita, he's probably 14 to 16 years based on which story you read. So by the age of 14 to 16, he's capable of killing demons like Tataka and Subahu. He's able to take such good decisions. So you should understand that by the age of 16, even Shankaracharya by 16 he had accomplished so much of greatness. So by the age of 16, he should have attained so much of knowledge and he should have been so stable and so mature that a father or any parent should consider their sons as their friends. And by friends, what the Subhashitakara is telling, that between friends, what happens? You tell your problems, they tell you some solutions, you tell your, you ask for advice. So he's telling, the Subhashitakara is telling that by the age of 16, the son or the daughter should have achieved enough maturity, enough knowledge that they can discuss the problems of the family and they can give advice as well. So that should be the level to which the son or the daughter should have grown. But of course, in today's life, we have, we still depend on our parents till the age of 30, 40, and it goes on. So that was not the case when this Subhashita was written. Murkha yatra na pujyante dhanyam cha susanchitam dampatye kalaho nasti Tatra Shrihi Swayamagata. Murkhaha yatra na pujyante. That place where murkhas, fools, are not worshipped. That is, knowledge is given importance and murkhas are kept aside and people who have knowledge are respected. So that place where murkhas are not respected. Dhanyam yatra susanchitam. And food grains, dhanya is food grains. That is, food is susanchitam, is well protected. That is, there is enough food grains and food for all the people. Dampatye kalaho nasti, and there is no fight or any enmity between the husband and the wife. Tatra Shrihi Swayamagata. That is the place where Lakshmi has herself descended. That is the place where Lakshmi resides. Ekopi gunavan putro nirgunaishcha shatairvarah ekaschandra tamohanti nachatara sahasrashah. Very apt shloka if you are writing an essay or writing something about Shiva Guru and Aryamba. First we'll discuss the shloka. Ekopi gunavan putro. Even if there is one son who is gunavan, who is filled with good qualities, nirgunaishcha shatairvarah. He is better than hundreds of sons who are nirgunas, who don't have any good qualities at all. So one good charactered, good conduct son is better than hundreds of sons who don't have good qualities. Beautiful. The example given by the Subhashitakara is Ekaha Chandraha Tamaha Hanti. It is just one Chandra who removes the darkness in the night. Nachataraha Sahasrashah. Even though there are thousands of stars in the sky, it is not the 1,000 stars that remove the darkness. It is just this one Chandra who removes the darkness. Shiva Guru and Aryamba, when
Anna, you can use this in the case of the Pandavas and Kauravas also.
Excellent. Yes. Instead of having 100 sons like Kauravas, it is better to have righteous and prominent sons like Pandavas. Very good. But in the case of Shiva Guru and Aryamba, again, Shiva asked Shiva Guru, do you want one son who will live for 8 years, who is knowledgeable and who will bring you fame? Or do you want a son who will live for 100 years, but who will be foolish? Shiva Guru was an intelligent man and he chose a son who will live only for 8 years, but still he will bring fame, because Suvichakshana Sutah, it's there in your Suvano in Chittagriva Katha, I think. So Suvichakshana Sutah, a son should be one who is well educated and who is knowledgeable. So even here he's saying that it is better to have one son who is knowledgeable and with good qualities rather than having hundreds of them without any good qualities. Yatha chaturbhihi kanakam parikshate nigharshana tapatadanaihi tatha chaturbhihi purusham parikshate tyagena shilena gunena karmana. Beautiful Subhashita. Similar to how yatha chaturbihi, so similar to how kanakam, gold is parikshate, is tested. Similar to how gold is tested by 4 means. What are those 4 means? Nigharshana, by rubbing. So you have something called a touchstone. So usually gold is rubbed on the touchstone to see the purity of the gold. So nigharshana, by rubbing. Chedana, by cutting. That is because if you cut open, there may be some impurities that you can check and hence you can decide the purity. Tapa, by heating. Tadanehi, by hammering or by beating it. So similar to how gold's purity is tested by 4 means: by rubbing, by cutting, by heating, and by beating. Tatha chaturbihi purusha parikshate. In similar way, by 4 methods, the qualities or the good characters of a person is identified. What are those 4? Tyagena, so tyaga, that is giving away. Dana, tyaga, both can mean the same. So by the ease, by, for example, Karna, without even thinking, he used to give dana. So tyaga, the ability to let go, is tyaga. Shilena, by his good conduct. Gunena, by his good qualities. Karmana, by his actions. So by these 4 methods, you can identify the good person from a bad person. You can differentiate the good person from a bad person. Simhadekam bakadekam shikshet chatvari kukkutat vayasat pancha shikshet cha shat shunastrini gardabhat. One of the most interesting shlokas that I came across in Chanakyaneethi. So what this tells is Simhat ekam. So what is he telling? Shikshet, you should learn. You should learn Simhat ekam. You should learn one thing from Simha. Bakat ekam. Baka is crane. So you should learn one quality from Simha, one quality from Baka. Kukkutat chatvari. Kukkuta is a cock. Cock or a hen, anything. So kukkuta chatvari. You should learn 4 qualities from a kukkuta. That is a cock. Vayasat pancha. You should learn 5 qualities from a vayasat. That is a crow. Shat shunaha. You should learn 6 qualities from a shunaka. That is a dog. Trini gardabhat. And 3 qualities from a donkey. So beautifully, this shloka is telling that one person should learn one quality, that one quality from Simha, one quality from a crane, four qualities from a cock, and five qualities from a crow, six qualities from a dog, and three qualities from a donkey. I won't go into the details. Of course, if you need it, I can give you those subhashitas. But I have taken one subhashita which I've already come across, describing the 6 gunas of Shunaka. Bahvashi swalpa santushtaha sunidro lagu chetanaha swami bhaktascha shurascha shadete shvanato gunaha. Small changes can occur, but
Anna, it comes in Sangajivi Manavaha.
very good. In Prathama or Dvitiya, I'm not sure. So this comes in that. Yeah, so it is describing the 6 qualities of Shunaka, that is dog. Bahvashi, it has a lot of desires. It wants to help its master, it wants to please its master, it wants to have the best food, it wants everything. But Swalpa Santushta, but it is happy with limited. So even though it has a lot of wishes, it is satisfied with just a little. Swalpa Santushta, it is satisfied with very little. Sunidraha, it can sleep very well. Lagu Chetanaha, but it can wake up immediately. So if there is some disturbance, it can immediately wake up. So as you can see, there is Dvandva. It wants more, but it is satisfied with less. It sleeps well, but it is easily awoken. So then, Swami Bhaktascha, it is very loyal. Shurascha, it is very brave. Shvanato Shadete Gunaha. These are the 6 qualities of a Shvana, that is a dog. So in similar way, this sequence of Subhashitas tells you what is that one quality from Simha, one quality from Baka. So it tells all these qualities, and at the end of all these shlokas, beautifully the concluding shloka tells that Ya etan vimshati gunan acharishyati manavah karyavasthasu sarvasu ajeyah sabhavishyati. So how many gunas are we talking about? One from Simha, one from Baka, 2, Chatvari Kukutat, 2 plus 4, 6, Vayasat Pancha, 6 plus 5, 11, Shat Shunaha, 11 plus 6, 17, Gardabhat, 3, so 17 plus 3, 20. So Yaha etan vimshati gunan acharishyati manavah. So that person, that human being who will follow and assimilate these 20 qualities from these different animals, karyavasthasu karya sarvasu, in all the works that he will do, ajeyah saha bhavishyati, he will become victorious, he will become undefeated. So by assimilating and inculcating these 20 qualities, that person will become undefeated, he'll become victorious in all the works he will do. Very beautiful Subhashita. Adhama dhanamichanti dhanam manam cha madhyamaha uttama manamichanti manohi mahatam dhanam. Very beautiful again. If you go back to Raghuvamsham, yashaha gariyaha is what Rama tells. Similarly, manaha, yashaha, both are very close. So manaha is respect, yashaha is fame. So if you gain fame, you'll gain respect. So both are interrelated. Here he's saying that adhamaha dhanamichanti. So again, if you read Subhashitas, they usually divide people into 3 categories: Adhamas, Madhyamas, and Uttamas. So Adhamas are people with mediocre intellect, that is very limited intellect. Madhyamah, they have a little more knowledge but not complete knowledge. And Uttamas are the sadhus, sajjanas, who have complete knowledge. So here he's saying that Adhama dhanamichanti. Those Adhamas they want only money. Dhanam manam cha madhyama. Madhyamas, they want both dhana, money, as well as samana, that is respect. Uttamaha manamichanti, but Uttamas, they only want mana, hence manohi mahatan dhanam, hence sammana, respect is the treasure or the money for the great people, for the Uttamas. Deepo bhakshayate dhvantam kajjalam cha prasuyate yadannam bhakshyate nityam jayate tadrishi prajaha. An alternate shloka for this is Deepo bhakshayate dhvantam kajjalam cha prasuyate yadrisham bhakshaye buddhir bhavati tadrishi. And this is the Sukthi that is there in your Sukthirathnani. Very beautiful. Again, one of the very nice subhashitas that you can use in several places. So the meaning goes like this. Deepo bhakshayate dhvantam. So what is the purpose of a lamp? It destroys darkness, but it brings light. But the Subhashitakara is imagining a very beautiful thing here. What is he thinking? Deepaha dhvantam bhakshayati. So in order to spread light, the deepa is consuming, or it is consuming and eating the darkness. So once the darkness goes away, only then can there be light. So that going away of the darkness, Subhashitakara is beautifully imagining that the deepa is eating, bhakshayate dhvantam. It eats or consumes the darkness. And what is the result? Kajjalam cha prasuyate. Kajjala is nothing but soot. What you call as hoge, or that lamp black, what you call it is used to make ink, so that soot is generated. So kajjalam cha prasuyate, having consumed darkness, that deepa produces soot or lamp black. So deepa is told to be a very auspicious thing, but even in that, the Subhashitakara has found a fault. Because of consuming the darkness, this deepa has started producing another darkness called soot. So beautifully he concludes that yadannam bhakshyate nityam, whatever is the food that one eats regularly, jayate tadrishi prajaha, he will give birth or he will reproduce the same result. So it just does not mean your sons will be similar to you. It can be anything. In this case, it is a deepa, a lamp producing soot. So similarly, anything. So if something consumes something that is bad, it will also produce something bad. For example, Dhritarashtra was blinded by desire. He always wanted the kingdom for himself. And because of that intention, he always wanted to be the king. He always wanted to be the king. So that bad thought was constantly there. And as a result, the Kauravas that were born from Dhritarashtra also had that same negative thought. So in a similar way, Deepo bhakshayate dvantam. That deepa, that lamp which consumes darkness, gives rise to another darkness called soot. And what is the food eaten regularly leads to what is reproduced later. And again, if you use the second shloka that I told, yadrisham bhakshaye dannam buddhir bhavati tadrishi. Similar to what? So what is the food that is eaten by you? Your mind or your buddhi will be the same. Your knowledge or your intellect will follow the food that you eat. Another best example is ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi. So if your ahara is good, then your food, your thoughts and your actions will also be good. If you read Bhagavad Gita, several places, 13 chapters, 7 chapters, so many places, Krishna again and again tells you about what is the type of food you should consume. Because if you read that, there are 3 different types of foods: sattva, rajas, and tamas. So sattvahara, rajasahara, and tamasahara. So these are the 3 different things. Again, he tells that the food that is made with bad intentions, the food that is stale, that food that is not fit for eating, is all tamasika ahara. That food that is full of spices, too much of salt, all that will become rajasa ahara. But that food that is made with good intentions, which is served with minimal, with no spices or any type of spice, but which is served very immediately after it is cooked. If it is served, that is the type of food that will contribute to satvika ahara. So this is again beautifully told in Bhagavad Gita as well. So next we will go to the next shloka. So again, if I'll just repeat the meaning of this Sukthirathnani. Yadrisham bhakshaye dannam buddhir bhavati tadrishi. Similar to the food you eat, your intellect will become. ತಿನ್ನುವ ಆಹಾರ ಎಂತದ್ದೋ ಬುದ್ಧಿಯು ಆ ತರವೇ ಆಗುತ್ತದೆ. Again, you can give several examples for this. Like for example, you can take the example of Kauravas, Pandavas. You can take any of them and you can give the example. Krodho vaivasvato raja trishna vaitarini nadi vidya kama dudhadhenuhu santosho nandanam vanam. Krodha, anger. Vaivasvata. So Vivaswan is Surya. Vaivasvata is the son of Surya, that is Yama. So he's saying that, Subhashitakara is saying that Krodha Vaivasvataha. Anger is Yama. That is, it is the cause of death. Trishna Vaitarini Nadi. So Vaitarini is Ganga. So Ganga, as you know, is a perennial river. Kaveri, during rainy season, it will be filled with water, but during summer, it will nearly be dry. But Ganga is not like that. Throughout the year, it will always be flowing. So the Subhashitakara is beautifully comparing Trishna, your desire or your asaya, akanksha, what you call in Kannada. So that desire, he's comparing it to Ganga, because similar to how Ganga flows throughout the year, throughout the lifetime, similarly, desire is constant. It will never go away. It will never be fulfilled. So he's comparing Trishna to Ganga. So anger is like Yama and desire is like the eternally flowing perennial Ganga. Vidya Kamaduda Dhenu. Knowledge is like Kamadhenu, because once you have knowledge, Vidyadhara vinayam, vinayatyati patratam, patratva dhanamapnoti, dhana dharma tata sukham. So everything that you want, dhana, dharma, sukha, anything, all comes from Vidya. Hence, Vidya is like Kamadhenu. It will fulfill all your wishes. If you want money, if you have knowledge, yes, you can gain money. If you want to, start to teach something, if you have knowledge, yes, you can teach. So Vidya is that Kamadhenu. And Santosho Nandanavanam. So Nandanavana is the garden of Indra. Indraloka has a garden called Nandana. So he's telling that, Subhashitakara is telling that happiness is like Nandanavana. So Nandanavana is told to have trees that never wither, the flowers never wither, it's always fragrant. So it's a very beautiful place. So happiness is like that beautiful place called Nandanavana. Sukharti va tyajet vidya, vidyarthi va tyajet sukham, sukhartinah kuto vidya, kuto vidyarthinah sukham. In Tritiya Subhashitas, you have seen this. So for a person who wants happiness, he should let go of knowledge. For a person who wants knowledge, he should let go of happiness. How can there be happiness for a person seeking knowledge? How can there be knowledge for a person seeking happiness? Yesham na vidya na tapo na danam jnanam na shilam na guno na dharmaha te martya loke bhuvibhara bhutah manushya rupena mrigaschyaranti. Very famous, most of you would have already known. But again, yesham na vidya, for that person, na vidya, who does not have knowledge, na tapah, who has not performed any type of penance, na danam, who has never given any charity, jnanam, who does not have knowledge, shilam, who does not have good conduct, na gunaha, who does not have good qualities, na dharmaha, who is not righteous. Te manushya rupena mrigaha. They are the animals in the form of human beings. Martya loke bhuvi bhara bhutah, and they're roaming around this world and they're dead weight. So they're not needed in this world, but still they're adding extra weight to this world and they're roaming around in the form of human beings. Yastyanasti swayam prajna shastra. Yeah. Yeah.
Anna, I have a question in Yeshana Vidya.
Yeah.
For
Sorry, I didn't get you.
if you don't have, if you have all these things, that means that means you are not a way to the earth. If you have all except one, then are you a way to the earth?
It is like a comparative study. So if you have everything, yes, you're not a weight. You have one less thing, you're a little more weight. If you don't have nothing, then you always be a complete weight. So of course, all this is telling that you should gain at least one of them. So what the Subhashitakara is intending to tell is, see, you have so many things: vidya, tapaha, danam, shilam, manam, so many you have. At least gain one of them and make your life at least a little bit more pure and a little bit more worthy, is what the Subhashitakara is saying. He's not telling that gain everything. He's telling that if a person has nothing, then he is waste, or he is not useless to the society. At least gain one and become of some use to society is what the Subhashitakara intends to tell.
Okay.
यस्य नास्ति स्वयं प्रज्ञा शास्त्रं तस्य करोति किं लोचनाभ्यां विहीनस्य दर्पणः किं करिष्यति. Very beautiful Subhashita. Yasya swayam prajna nasti, for a person who does not have his own basic knowledge. So every person has some basic knowledge. Shastram tasya karoti kim. So you have some basic knowledge and you learn or you get some education to add to that knowledge. So the Subhashitakara is saying that yasya swayam prajna eva nasti. If a person does not even have the basic knowledge, shastram tasya karoti kim. What will education? Shastra indirectly means education. So if a person does not have his basic intellect itself, what will shastras or education benefit him? And beautifully the Subhashitakara gives the example, lochanabhyam vihinasya, for a person who does not have eyes, that is for a blind person, darpanaha kim karishyati, what will a mirror help? So similar to how a mirror is of no help or no use to a person who is blind, similarly shastras or education is of no use to a person who does not even have the basic knowledge. वरं वनं व्याघ्रगजादि सेवितं जनेन हीनं बहुकण्टकावृतं तृणानि शय्या परिधानवल्कलं न बन्धुमध्ये धनहीन जीवितं. Very apt Subhashita for the current world. Varam, so he's saying that it is better. Vyaghra vanam, so he's saying that it is better to live in the forest. And how is this forest? Vyaghra gajadi sevitam, it is filled with ferocious wild beasts like tigers and elephants. And varam vanam vyaghra gajadi sevitam janena heenam, it does not have any type of people. So you are the only person living in that forest and there are no other human beings at all. Bahu kantakavritam, and there are a lot of dangers, because in a forest you have a lot of rainfall, you have a lot of storms coming in, you have landslides, you have forest fires, so many things that can happen in a forest. So that forest is full of dangers. But trinani shayya, further you're sleeping on a bed of grass, paridhana valkalam, and your dress is nothing but what is made from leaves. That is better. That is, he's saying that it is better to stay in a forest infested with ferocious animals like elephants and tigers, wherein you have no other human beings and which is always filled with dangers, where your bed is the bed of grass and your dress is what is made out of leaves. That is better. Na bandhu madhye dhanahina jeevitam. So he's saying that it is possible. It may be difficult, but it is still possible for a person to live in the situation in a forest with animals, so many dangers. But na bandhu madhye dhanahina jeevitam. But it is impossible to stay among your relatives dhanahina jeevitam, without any money. So if you are poor, if you don't have any money, then it is impossible to live even among your relatives. Very apt shloka for current day situation, and it is what it means is, even in those times this was the case. When you don't have anything, no one is ready to support you, but if you have some money, everyone comes. So there's another subhashita, I'm not remembering the subhashita exactly, but the meaning is, once you have money, your wife becomes close to you, your relatives become your friends, and your friends become more than relatives. That is the power that money has. But once you lose that money, all of these people will separate from you. That is another beautiful subhashita that you can search for. काष्ठं कल्पतरुः सुमेरुरचलः चिन्तामणिः प्रस्तरः सूर्यस्तीव्रकरः शशीक्षयकरः क्षारो हि वारां निधिः कामो नष्टतनुः बलिः जितुसुतो नित्यं पशुः कामगौः नैतांस्ते तुलयामि भो रघुपते कस्योपमा दीयते. So I loved this subhashita for several reasons. So the subhashitakara, he's praising or he's worshipping Raghupate. Oh Raghupati, that is Rama. So this person is worshipping Rama. So what is he telling? Kasya upama diyate. Whom shall I compare you to? Because whenever you describe, whenever you worship a god, you try to compare Shantakaram, Bhujagashayinam, and you tell all those things. So you compare him with something. Bhujagashayinam, Padmanabham, Suresham, Vishwadharam, Gaganasadrisham. So you try to compare. You are as vast as the Akasha, you're as calm as the ocean, you're as fulfilling as a Kama, Kalpavriksha. So you tell so many similes. But this person is telling, Subhashitakara is saying that Kasya upama diyate. What shall I compare you to? Na etanste tulayami. Because I don't want to compare you with these things. What are those things, and what is the reason for not comparing? Beautifully, the Subhashitakara tells it. Kalpataruhu. Kalpataru, that is Kalpavriksha. I don't want to compare you with Kalpataru. Why? Kashtam, it's a piece of wood. Since that Kalpataru is a piece of wood, I don't want to compare you with that. Sumeru, and I have told you, Sumeru is one of those mountains which is told, according to our mythology, to be made of gold. So shall I compare you with Sumeru? Achala, he's a non-living thing and it is an Achala, it's a mountain. Hence, I don't want to even compare you with Sumeru. Chintamani, so Chintamani is a very special type of stone, and as the name itself tells, whatever you hold that stone and whatever thing holding that stone, it will come true or it will be given to you. But Chintamani, but I can't compare you even to the Chintamani. Prastaraha, it's a stone. Hence, I don't want to compare you with that also. Surya, shall I compare you with Surya? Shall I compare, telling that you are as glorious, as shining as a Surya? Tivrakaraha, it is a very scorching sun. Sun is very scorching, it is very hot. I don't want to compare you with such a sun. Shashi, so I've told that sun is very hot. So should I compare you with the cool moonlight of the moon? No. Kshayakaraha, that moon has a mind of its own. Sometimes he increases, sometimes he decreases. But you, Raghupati, are a very constant person. Hence, I don't want to compare you with something as unconstant or wavering like the moonlight. Varamnithi, shall I compare you with the ocean? Shall I tell that you're as huge as the ocean, your Karuna is as big as the ocean? No, I don't want to compare you because Ksharaha, it is salty. Kamaha, so shall I, you're a very beautiful person. Your form is a very beautiful one. So shall I compare you with Kama, that is Kamadeva, Manmatha, Nashtatanuhu. He does not even have a body. So Nashtatanu means one who does not have a body or does not have a form. So I don't want to compare you even with Manmatha, because that Manmatha does not even have a human form. Balihi, so shall I compare you with Bali for being such a divine person who is giving away so much of wealth? Diti Sutaha. But I don't want to compare you with Bali because he's a Diti Sutta, he's a Asura. Hence, I don't want to compare you even with Bali. So what shall I compare you with? Kamagauhu? Shall I compare you with Kamadhenu? Pashuhu? But that Kamadhenu is an animal. Hence, I don't want to compare you with even Kamadhenu. So when this is a situation when I don't want to compare you with Kalpataru, Sumeru, Chintamani, Surya, Shashi, any of these, then Kasya Upama Diyate, what simile or what example can I compare you with? So, O Raghupate, so please tell me, beautiful shloka, which gives you a lot of information about different aspects of what you compare it to. Because every time you compare any god to these examples only. But here, he's giving beautiful examples saying that I don't want to compare you with this, you're greater than all of them. Gate shokena kartavyo bhavishyam naiva chintayet vartamanena kalena pravartante vichakshanaah. Very beautiful Subhashita. Gate shoko na kartavyah. What has happened, you should not worry about that. One should not worry about what has already happened. Bhavishyam naiva chintayet, and one should never think about the future. Vichakshanaha, wise men, vartamanena kalena pravartante. They work and they do their work in the present. They don't worry about the past. They don't ponder about the future. They only do their work in the present. So you should also do the same. पृथिव्यां त्रीणि रत्नानि जलमन्नं सुभाषितं मूढैः पाषाणखण्डेषु रत्नसंज्ञा विधीयते. Again, a very famous shloka. I've told this even when starting Subhashitani also. So on this earth there are three gems, three ratnas. One is Anna, Jala, that is water, Anna, that is food, and Subhashita. Subhashitas, these are the three ratnas that are present on earth. But Mudhaha, these foolish people, they go in search of gems in stones. They don't realize that these are the three Subhashita or the three ratnas. They go in search of stones which are in the form of gems. Ekamevaksharam yastu guru shishyam prabodhayet prithivyam nasti taddravyam yaddatva chandrani bhavet. So this is already there in
Anna Ekalavyasya Guru Bhakti.
Yes, it's already there in Ekalavyasya Guru Bhakti, and it is again told in Chanakya Neethi. So what this means is Ekamevaksharam yastu. If there is a guru, if a teacher, Shishyam Ekamevaksharam prabodhayet. If a teacher teaches just even one akshara, one letter to the Shishya, then Prithivyam nasti tadravyam yaddatva chandrani bhavet. So if a guru teaches even one akshara to the student, then there is no dravya, then there is nothing that a student can find on this entire earth by giving which he can let go or become unrini, he can become debtless. So again, guru rana, pitar rana, matra rana, these are different types of ranas that one gains as he goes through the life. So guru dakshina is just a it's just a small condition, it's just a small thing that has come into existence. So by just giving guru dakshina, it does not mean that you will become free from whatever the debt that you have, guru rana that you have accumulated. You won't let go of it. It is just a means of satisfying yourself. So here he clearly, the Subhashitakara clearly mentions that for a person, for a guru who has taught even one akshara to the shishya, there can be nothing that the shishya can give to the guru by giving which he'll become debtless, or he'll let go of all the debt that he has accumulated. न भूतपूर्वं न कदापि वार्ता हेम्नः कुरंगः न कदापि दृष्टः तथापि तृष्णा रघुनंदनस्य विनाशकाले विपरीत बुद्धिः. Very famous quote, Vinashakale viparita buddhihi. So I chose this because I wanted you to know the complete shloka here. So na bhuta purvam, it has never been seen in the past, it has never occurred in the past. Na kadapi varta, there has also not been any news. So maybe there someone has not seen something, but at least there may be some myths. For example, in English mythology, if you see, you have something like dragons, you have something like chimera. So chimera is like a lion with a tail as a snake. So it has different parts as different animals. So all these are myths. So but this Subhashitakara is saying that first of all, it has never occurred in the past. Secondly, there has not been any mention also. So at least if there is some myth that there was a golden deer, at least you can believe. But here the Subhashitakara is saying that there has not been any myth, no varta also. Hemnaha kurangaha na kadapi drishtaha. A golden deer has never been seen, has never been spotted. Tathapi Trishna Raghunandanasya. But still, that Raghunanda, that Rama, Trishna had this desire to capture this golden deer. And finally he concludes that Vinasha Kale Viparita Buddhihi. At the time of danger or at the time of destruction, the mind does illogically, acts illogically, or it does the opposite. So there has never been a golden deer in the past. There has never even been any news of a golden deer's existence, and no one has ever seen this golden deer as well. But still, that Rama also was interested in capturing that golden deer. Hence, it can be understood that in times of danger and destruction, the mind does illogical things. Again, you can go back to Ramenapi katam na hemaharina syasam bhavo lakshitaha. So that Subhashita also you can use as a
Anna, I have.
yeah.
Anna, but after he captured this thing also, nothing bad happened to him, Rama.
Sita had to separate, right? They had to face. So till this point of time, till 13 years of the exile, Rama, Lakshmana, Sita have been spending without any problems. So there have been no problems. They are living happily. But just because of this one incident, they had to face so much of hardships. They could have just stayed in Chitra, Panchavati, and they could have gone back after 14 years. But no, because of this incident, Rama had to go south. He had to find Vanaras. He had to send someone to Lanka, get Sita, fight Ravana. Why all these difficulties? If Rama had just kept quiet for that one instant, all this wouldn't have never happened. So it's not like nothing. Of course, it was destiny that Rama had to kill Ravana, and this was a means. But still, Subhashitakara is saying that if Rama had not deviated his mind, he has not, let his mind deviate for 1 second, then he could have, stopped Rama Sita being abducted by Ravana. So that is the point that he's making. Of course, everything has to happen according to fate. But this is the example that the Subhashitakara is telling or picking up to give this beautiful example that Vinasha Kale Viparita Buddhi. Just at the time when something bad has to happen, it should happen. Even if you see that Chitra Greva Katha, Nahi Bhavati Yatra Bhavyam, Bhavati Cha Bhavyam, Vinapi Yatnena. So if something should happen, it will always happen, whatever you do. But here it is saying that, so when something bad has to happen, then something wrong, the mind will always think of something wrong or something that is not possible, is what Subhashitakara is mentioning. Priyavakya Pradhanena Sarve Tushyanti Jantavaha Tasma Tadeva Vaktavyam Vachane Kadaridrata. Again, probably Prathama or Dvitiya you've already.
Not Dvitiya.
Anna, we had it last year.
Yeah, so Dvitiya you had it. So again, Priyavakya Pradhanena, by telling or by uttering good words, Sarve Jantava Dushyanti, all the people feel happy. So if you tell some sweet words to others, they'll always feel happy. Tasmat Tadeva Vaktavyam. Hence, one should always speak the same type of words. So you should always speak sweet words. Vachane Kadaridrata. What is the poverty in speaking words? Because words, they don't have any limit. It's not like God has sent you with 100 words. Okay, you can use only 100 good words. After 100 good words, you will not have any good words. That's not there. There's no scarcity in good words. So why not use them everywhere? So that is what Subhashitakara is beautifully mentioning. Pustakeshu cha ya vidya parahisteshu yadhanam utpanneshu cha karyeshu na sa vidya na tadhanam. Or an alternate shloka is Pustakasthatu ya vidya parahastagatam dhanam karya kale samutpanne na sa vidya na tadhanam. Again, a very beautiful shloka. This is the last shloka that I've taken as well. So with this, we will end this lesson as well. So very beautiful shloka, very apt for students. What is he telling? Pustakasthatu ya vidya, that knowledge which is restricted to books. Parahasteshu yadhanam, that money that is given to others. Utpanneshu cha karyeshu nasa vidya natadhanam. When there is a need for that knowledge as well as that money, nasa vidya natadhanam. You don't even have that knowledge, you don't even have that money. So what he's telling by this is, whatever is in the book, so books are there to gain knowledge, but that knowledge should not be only restricted to books. A very common example, of course, is a very common thing that happens in most of our houses. Let us say there is a function that is going on or some festival for which all the relatives have gathered. Let us say I have started learning music, and parents are always eager. Parents are always happy to tell that their son is doing something good. So they tell their relatives that, okay, my son or daughter is learning music and she's learning from a very good teacher. So of course, relatives are also very supportive. They also want to see their family growing in a better way. So they tell, okay, is it so? Please, can you sing a song? But what is the usual thing that we do? We tell that, oh no, auntie, the thing is the book with all the songs that I have learned is with my teacher and I don't have it, so I don't know the songs. That should not be the case. Is what the Subhashitakara is saying. Pustakasthatu ya vidya, that knowledge which is there only in the book. Let us say you sit in the exam and they ask a question. You should not think that, oh, I've written this in my book, but I don't remember. You should always, whatever you learn from the book should be inculcated in your mind and you should inculcate in your life as well. So that knowledge which is restricted only to the book is of no use. Because when the time comes, let us say someone asks you again to tell a shloka. If you know it in your mind, then only will you be able to tell it. You should not tell that, okay, I don't have the book, I can't tell. That is what usually I do. Because unless I have the book, I will not remember. So that should not be the case. You should always remember the shloka, remember whatever you're learning and use it in your life. Secondly, parahastagatam dhanam, you may be a very rich person, but if you have given some money to someone, they may repay it to you, but when will they repay, you don't know. So unless you have that money in your hand, you should never think, okay, I've given some 1,000 rupees to my friend, so if some need arises, I can ask him. That will never happen, because what if your friend has just gone to some other place and he is not able to communicate with you? So many things can happen. So that money that has left your hand and gone to someone else's hand, it will also never come to help you in the time of need. So knowledge restricted to books, money that has left your hand and gone to someone else, they never help you out in the time of dire need. So this is the beautiful Subhashita that we come across in Chanakyaneethi. So these were the important some of the major shlokas that one should know, one should understand, because they have a very prominent place, in. See, personally, I feel that learning these Subhashitas gives me an edge, because whenever, let us say, for example, in this particular lesson itself, I was able to relate so many Subhashitas. So there were Subhashitas that come from Tritiya, there are some Subhashitas that come from Raghuvamsha. So it will give you some better place. So when you're discussing something with someone else, they should never feel that you have less knowledge. You should always have so much of knowledge. You should have enough knowledge that even if need arises, you should be able to deviate from the topic. So always, that is the reason that Subhashitas are so important. They give you such a good leverage over your vocabulary and knowledge, that a very good place to use. So you have Prabandha Rachana even in Tritiya, you have Prabandha Rachana in Turiya, Pravesha, and further exams as well. The most prominent thing that you can use for Prabandha Rachana is Subhashitas. If you rate 3-4 Subhashitas and explain them, you're nearly done with Prabandha Rachana. And always, whenever you may speak, whenever you make a speech or make an essay or anything, try to inculcate as many Subhashitas. So that is why I have gone into so much of depth into Sukthirathnani, because rather than just reading one line of that particular grantha, when that grantha itself has so many beautiful verses which you can use in so many places. And of course, another reason is you would have heard to so many phrases. For example, Loko Bhinnaruchi, you would have heard from so many places. But where does this come from? What is the source of this? So to give you that insight, I'm doing this endeavor. So with that, Chanakya Neethi, my main intention was to give you insights about the beautiful shlokas. Again, as I've told you, these are not written by Chanakya himself, though some of them may have been written. These are collected from different sources, rather than going through the entire Ramayana to find one beautiful shloka, rather than reading 1 lakh shlokas of Mahabharata to find some beautiful shlokas. Chanakya has done a very prominent job by collecting around 340 to 350 very beautiful shlokas, Subhashitas, and put it in one place, so that if you read this, yes, you have accumulated all the knowledge given in so many scriptures. And that is what even he promised in the initial stages. Just by reading Chanakya Neethi, you'll gain the knowledge of all the Shastras, and just by knowing it, you'll become a Sarvagnya. So, of course, even if you see, in Panchatantra Kathamukam, he tells that there are so many Shastras, that Shastras, Saras should be given a little. So, that Sumati, that statement is actually very beautiful. It is that Prabhutani ete Shastrani. In that, take the Sara, the essence of that Shastras, and Kinchita, in that essence, take a small part of it and give it to your Rajaputras. So that is how important even that small amount is. Because, of course, our lifetime is not enough to understand the entire Shastras. So, Chanakya has done a great job of collecting all those Shastras. He has done a very big job of going through all those Shastras and collecting it, and then choosing those 300, 350 shlokas beautifully and putting it into one place. So he has done our job easy. All we have to do is just read this. So that is how important the job of these great people are. So that is, again, if you Panchatantra Kathamukam gives you a beautiful statement, and you can use it in so many places. Like, it's very eminent. Rather than reading the entire thing, take the gist and learn something and use it, some part of it in your life. And that is why Chanakya Neethi is very prominent. So with that, we will conclude today's meeting. Gurureva gatihi gurumeva bhaje gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave na guroh paramam shishurasmi guror matirasti gurau mama pahi guru. Ram Ram Ram.